Welcome back. We're watching more Mushoku Tensei. Of course, things going stupendously well. Really attending the college, meeting some new faces. Definitely none that he's seen before. And we've only a few things to really look forward to for the future. The fact that Fitz is nearby and around, even if he doesn't quite recognise or know who they really are. But he's got a friend in his home room, doesn't he? One that we've seen long ago, the student under his wing. Good thing he doesn't actually have to attend that all too often. Still, what can he actually learn and get out of this educational experience? And much like facing a near-death experience at the hands of the girls at the girls' dorm, what other issues is he going to find himself running into? Warranted or not. This is dumb. It's still fun to watch. So let's get into it. Well, waking up early in the morning, still getting into his usual routine. Gotta keep up the training, can't let up. How many other students actually go through all of this? And well, there's at least one. Maybe Fitz actually took it up after seeing him again. They're kind of stiff. There's not much action pose going on. Nice. The school food from when I was back in education was in dire need for improvement. Thanks for that visual imagery. There is a lot to take in then, despite his massive advancement in magic compared to normal casters. Actually getting down with the full remit of the education system here. I mean, teleportation and such a disaster as what happened, I would understand why it is taboo. Nice. Still crashing with a firefighter. What a sentence to describe that. Not able to stand tall at all. Seeing his dream there, what he would like to obtain, and also, yeah, now this being an actual opening and rather than just playing through the credits while we focus on a bit in the world. Anyway. Everything that he's been fighting for and achieved and lost throughout the way. How much is actually going to be retained? And considering there are several characters who suffer from various ailments, shall we say, and curses. Is there going to be a breakthrough for helping them as well on its own journey for self-discovery and whatever was behind this teleportation incident? I don't think it's going to be easy to just rewind the clock and figure out where everyone went. He warmed the seat, did he? Gonna help him out in their research, do some of their own there. Just recently. And he's a lot closer than you would have expected. Is she now going to actually feel a little guilty for everything that he's been through in all of this? She's not been able to try and follow. Well, the more the merrier. Having a student like Fitz actually out to help. How would he turn down that offer? A smile like that, tugging on his heartstrings? Was that a slight quiver you felt in his never ailments? The whole thing that we said before about getting it, that is a good question. Getting close with someone, having a proper relationship with them, getting to know them. How's he going to respond to that? Considering he saw that dropped the underwear out of the window. More of a... There are mitigating circumstances which allow it. And when it comes to princes and like, there would be exceptions, yes. Well, maybe they feel comfortable around him. And yet somehow has been able to open up around Rudy. Well, they had a pretty decent teacher. Well, you might not if you learn a little bit more. That would be amusing to hear. Well, Fitz seems to be enjoying the time they spend together. Will it all suddenly click into place once he realizes who she actually is? Will it be more relief than anything? True. What is the man god actually thinking about all of this? Seeing his conversations going on here and the misunderstandings. Figure geek. Close the door, turn away, maybe lock it behind you. I don't think it's safe to leave that in his possession. Great, so because he's a degenerate as well, then you can look past transgressions like that. He lives for those words. And how... I mean, we've seen him train Sylphie and whatnot in magic, so trying to pass on the intricacies of model making. Looks like it's going well. He's been with him all day and he's been trying his hardest, so you got to give him that at least, even if it didn't really show any success. Are they working from actual material here, or rather than making the figure, they're chipping away, the most primitive aspect? If he can visualize this, the form that's held within. Beautiful. This crying, he must have fun recording that. Oh yeah, didn't he like twist the head off a baby or something? I mean, does anyone really become a master at their craft the first time they attempt it? She gonna... Well, it's a start. Just from seeing it being done once. Maybe he needs a more useful medium for him to sculpt from. Looks like we might go down to the market. And considering what we saw in the opening, I wonder who they're going to get. Do you want to go together? What an amazing day out. Oh, the fact that you almost jumped at the chance as soon as he mentioned it, even though he did put the idea in his mind. It is really good seeing her actually enjoy the time that they're spending together and trying to get as much as possible to hang out with Rudy. So, don't hold yourself in lofty regards. But merely here as additional help, and mostly to ignore you completely, just to enjoy the time with Rudy. Is he feeling a bit lost here in the market, not sure what way to go and whatnot? How will they ever get to pick the perfect one? Is there a catalogue? She had no terms of comparison, really. That fire in the background seems slightly odd frame rate. Maybe perfect frame rate, I'm not sure. Well, if there's elves, there's going to be... Well, then we definitely know where we're going to be starting off with all of this. A dwarf, since their excellent craftsmanship, and much like Rudy expanding his capabilities and capacities since birth. Yep. Choose a young'un. It's gonna be difficult though, getting such a young slave to get them to easily fall into making all these models and whatnot that they need. Slightly above what Fitz was saying. Ah, family debt. And all of these slaves, are they, like that, sold into slavery to cover debts and whatnot, or were they obtained through raids and shit? Not that it's really all too much better, because it's still slavery, but still. Wow. Spacious living conditions. How life could have been so different should a few decisions go the other way. We saw someone from his past village, were they being sold as a slave? Using precious healing magic. What? Because she wasn't helping, a bit defiant. Talkative one. I mean, is she capable of speech? Just given up. Unfortunately, yeah. It's a lot closer to home. It's a lot closer to home than really he'd probably like to admit. Or is there still hope to cling on to the will to live? What, just the idea that there's a way out now? He's thinking because of his own experiences, it would just be prolonging the pain that she's having to live through. Has he paid for her yet? I mean, she's probably not been able to hold much of a conversation in here. We missed first part of the sentence. As much as it is the suffering that she's gone through, the fear of death itself, one reason to carry on. By admitting it, at least there's a way forward. I mean, before she was sold off, what did her parents call her? It seems more of a title than a name. It's quite catchy, really. So you can give her own moniker there. I don't think we're going to get a sensible suggestion from that one. Let's keep spitballing, brainstorming some more. Well, at least if he keeps his hands away from her, won't suffer from the same kind of fate. All right, let's go with Julie. Being saved from the slave market in the cage, given a slight, if not a will to live, then a reason not to despair. I think the distraction from everything that's going on, just by the ideas of having a living slave to help with the model making. I'm not sure it was particularly necessary to have a slave for it, but considering it's a world where slavery is just part of the norm, that's one of the things with these kind of stories is if they're set back in kind of a fantasy era, like medieval, whatever, even pushing forward a 100 years or so past that, the idea of that kind of servitude may not be great with today's customs, but would you really try to overturn the entire system that it works on, even if it is quite distasteful? And there are other shows which I have seen where it's anyone in trouble, but a slave, we need to save them all. Rudy is not quite. Well, he's more pragmatic. Does what he can. The Covenant of Beast Girls. You know, out of kind of all fantasy type stories where we've seen slave markets and whatnot, it was much more just of a storefront. Here's the products we have on display. If you're looking for something more niche, got a catalogue of of stock that we have in order. But whether it be from Rudy's life before or the very pits of that he's fell to recently, him being able to recognise that listful look on her eyes, in her eyes, to almost give up on life itself. How many have suffered that same kind of fate? How many would be able to continue living on after some of the things that they've experienced, even if they haven't been mass teleported across the place? But whether it's sold off by being sold off by your own family isn't exactly going to be, not going to feel great, is it? But the fact that that kind of shit actually occurred so often, it's kind of a bad indictment of humanity in some respects. But then you've got the other side of it, where we can just enjoy a nice stroll, a day out, almost a date, if you will. Having Sylphie, or currently Fitz, enjoying their time here. What would the days have been like if Rudy hadn't have came to the school? Just more silence, the usual kind of bodyguarding duties, and that's it. And how long is it actually going to be before Sylphie drops a hint or two to actually jog his memory about who she is? And of course, he knows about Sylphie, but the connection with Fitz there still a little unclear in his mind. But how is she going to feel if it continues on and he doesn't recognise her in the slightest? Or the trembling is in his heart for staying around him too long. Maybe he's just terrified of women, so it comes to a comfort to have such a close connection to a guy. Mushoku Tensei has been one of those shows where, while feeling quite familiar, there's also something fresh about it. I think also because we've got Sugata voicing the inner monologue, we don't have a character here who is confident in all what he does. It's actually a lot of the time for his own issues that he's got to try and work through, but how much more is he going to get sidetracked? Is his research into the teleportation actually going to uncover anything pivotal to understanding it? Maybe to locate those that were caught up in it, if not for repatriation within the country and their families, maybe just recovering corpses. Some closure. And also considering how Rudy is currently, it's probably best that various stories and whatnot he keeps to himself. Doesn't really want to destroy the image that Fitz has of him. The good master from her past who taught her all of these things, and the relatively good thing they've got going now. Better make sure you keep him away from the shrine. Has he rebuilt it since being here? But considering we had a title of Kidnapping Beast and Beastman, I'm guessing it's probably got something to do with the ones from his homeroom. It would make sense. So, what's going on there? Who's managing to infiltrate the school to carry out anything like this? And the one thing I'm trying so hard to stay away from is the model students' activities. At least the large-scale sculptures were easy to wipe down, but he really needs to keep his clothes on around them. I mean, there's appreciation for a topic, and then there's grinding up against them. Did not need to see that. I'm going to need to go do something to wipe my memory clear of it. Maybe you do too. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know. Leave a like and a comment down below. If I did anything to entertain you, consider subscribing. Try and get some rest, so that I can see you in the next one.